You're going
You're
down.
going down, man. You're going down. I have to poke him a bit, but then it comes out. He's actually a really nice guy, believe it or not.
Hey guys, this is OJ here coming to you with another episode of Crypto Corner, and today I'm joined by Yuri and Steve from the Coin Chat. We're going to have a chat about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general, and especially about the current Bitcoin crash that happened just last night. Hours ago, we had a massive Bitcoin dump, and we're going to talk about it and a few other important things, so stay tuned. Right, well, Yuri and Steve, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing? And tell me where you're located at the moment.
Doing well, based in London.
All right.
Thank you, OJ. It's a pleasure to be on the show and to meet you. I'm in Boston.
Let's talk about the important stuff. Market manipulation is what I call it. We had Bitcoin dumping massively yesterday with more than $1,500. And it's currently trying to recover, not really doing very well. What is your take on this? Why did that happen? Many YouTubers, many of our fellow YouTubers were doing videos. I actually watched Omar's Crypto News last night live stream. He was talking a lot about fundamentals and different things that are happening in the crypto space, trying to find reasoning to that. If you ask me, there's no reasoning. It's just whales doing their game. What's your take?
The Democrats said they were going to impeach Trump.
Right.
And moments later, Bitcoin drops 1,000 points.
I mean, people were
The
talking.
stock market dropped too.
Yes, people were talking about the stock market dropping.
I mean, there was global turmoil yesterday, and following global turmoil, gold was up, and that was the only safe haven yesterday. And that's, I mean, if there's going to be a political crisis, then you're going to see markets move anyway. But I mean, Bitcoin's been predicted to drop for a while because if you look at the technical charts, we were effectively in an inverse head and shoulders. We were heading on our way down, and then we had backed on top of it. We were in a descending triangle. I mean, there were so many headwinds, technically speaking, that this was not unexpected. And even without backed, we were in this massive descending triangle, and we'd formed this wedge, and the wedge was basically taking us to 9,400. And unfortunately, when you hit the support line of 9,400, the question is pump or dump. Well, unfortunately, we just dumped right down to 8,000, and our next support level is really 7,600. So it's I mean, we can always look for fundamental reasons why things happened, but technically speaking, this was on the cards for a while. It's been playing out for a while, and a number of people who do really deep technical analysis, like our friend Crypto Face, has been calling it for weeks.
Right.
Tone Base has been calling it for weeks. There's no surprise when you look at the analysis from that side of it. But of course, all of us who are Bitcoin maximalists would argue it should keep going up. And we're in a bull market, so why did it go down? And what the hell's happening? But nothing just keeps going up. There's always patterns, and that's just life. So
and are we actually in a bull market is the question, because if you ask Tone Vase, I actually had a chat with him. I was going to have him on the channel. He is still under the opinion that we are not in a bull market. We are in a C wave that is basically supposed to take us down even below the 3,000 level. And
yeah, I know. He's been very, I like Tone, but he's been very negative about in that respect. I'm going to err on the side of someone like Tom Lee from Fundstrat, who is he's an analyst. He's from JP Morgan, left JP Morgan, set up his own firm. He does this for a living. He gets paid by major financial institutional clients to do analytical research. And I just will err on the side of a Wall Street analyst who knows what they're doing, who's a Bitcoin maximalist as well, who says, I have 20 points I've analyzed, and on these 20 points, we pass the test for a bull market. I'm more likely to go on that than Tone, because Tone is not necessarily a professional like that, although I really like what Tone does. So I'm not criticizing him. I just choose to follow somebody else in that respect.
Fair enough. Yuri, what's your take? You're also supporting that we are in a bull market, is it?
So Steve and I, we spent a lot of time speaking about this, and I do potentially I follow more of Steve's logic on this one, and I'm a big proponent of what Tom Lee does, his following. So I mean, I feel like I'm just going to repeat the same thing that Steve has just said, because we're on the same show, and we do believe a lot of the same technical aspects on that. So yeah,
You're
I believe
also
we
a
are
Bitcoin maximalist, are you?
I am. I'm less of a. So I am. Yeah, I think we can probably go a little bit too deeper in that one, but yes, and I again believe the long-term value, and I think we are in a bull market. And honestly, every time it drops, I just look for moments to buy the dip, and I'm excited about that. Like that's mostly when I see this stuff. I'm like, great, it dropped a little bit, buying the dip, and it's going to go up.
That's a very good point, actually, because I do the same thing. Actually, yesterday I did a live stream and I did a few posts where I was saying time to buy. I mean, when you especially when you have such a significant drop, because a significant drop like that will always be followed by a recovery, and we started the recovery already. It dropped to 7,900 according to some exchanges, and it's now at 8,400, so around there. So, the bounce back is not big yet, but I think a recovery is definitely coming. My personal take is that this was the playground of the whales, and we've seen a few times them doing these kind of things with no fundamentals to really support a drop like that. I mean, there's many times when Bitcoin will drop because of certain regulations hitting, or, in 2017, a few times it was because of China banning certain activities, like, they were restricting mining. They were going after exchanges. India was banning crypto. Probably, I think India banned crypto about 5 times in the last 3 years. So, and in the first few occasions, Bitcoin was dropping by 20%, 15, 20, sometimes even 30%, only because of bad news like this. I think lately people don't pay attention to that anymore, but sometimes there are fundamentals that are involved with the Bitcoin price dropping, but other times, just like yesterday, there was nothing really significant to drive that price down besides market manipulation, pure, just traders. Let's not forget that the most of the volume of Bitcoin transactions and, just Bitcoin that is being that is going around on the market is in fact trading volume. We are still not at the point where we have so much use cases that people are actually spending and paying for things with Bitcoin. It is probably 80, if not 90% of the volume on a daily basis is trading volume. So this is why it is so susceptible to these kind of market moves that are driven by traders and not so much by users of Bitcoin. So that's my personal take. This is what I'm thinking. And for people who are new to crypto, this could be really scary. If this is the first time or one of the first times that you are seeing such a huge drop, you can be like, what's happening here? My money is gone, stuff like that.
Yeah, but look back to the early days of Amazon and Facebook shares trading, and you'll see very similar things, not as frequently,
right?
But, when anything is new and there's hype around it, things tend to swing up and down a lot more until it becomes more stable and more common and mainstream. And we've seen that in the history of currency. We've seen that with the history of big, stocks. And we see that now. We've seen that with the internet days, where we saw big, massive moves, not just the, Amazon stuff, but there were other things that were all over the place in the early stages. And we see it with Bitcoin. So it's nothing new. It's just that Bitcoin is touching more people's lives and is more widely available. Whereas, the US stock market, let's face it, is pretty much limited to the US market and to even a limited subset of people, and Bitcoin's available to everybody. So there's a different level of awareness when you actually have something like this that's widely available. So people that are not accustomed to it are freaking out, and people who've seen this before are going, yeah, it's normal. It just happens to be Bitcoin this time. It's something else last time.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what drove you into crypto. What attracted you to this as new asset class? What do you like about it? Yuri, let's start with you. What is the main thing about crypto that actually got you involved?
Sure. So I like put a toe in the water in 2014 as a complete marketing stunt. I owned a bottled water at the time, a bottled water company, and I had seen a couple of other people like jump out and say they were the first whatevers to accept Bitcoin. I'm like, great, this is fantastic from a marketing side. I had no idea what it meant. I was just like, this is going to do it and see what happens. So I got a lot of press from it, zero sales from Bitcoin, and I kind of forgot about it.
Did you have a
And
Bitcoin
then
wallet address, by the way, Yuri?
I did. I set up at the time. All I could do was figure out. So I was like, I don't know how to do this, but I think so. I think I stumbled across Coinbase at that time too. So I had a Coinbase wallet, which I thought I put money into, but as I found out later, I didn't. I just set it up and then forgot it. So that's where that was. And then 2016, I was at a conference where Ned from Steemit spoke, and he talked about what Steemit was working on. The idea, actually like the fundamental technology underneath cryptocurrencies, what blockchain was about. And that was the first time I actually could understand a bit more of what was actually happening. I don't have a technical background, and I found a lot of it to be overwhelming. And so when he talked about what Steemit was doing, how they were trying to create this platform that would allow the users, it was like Reddit, where you could make money from Reddit. And I thought that was absolutely, it blew my mind, like that somebody could create their own currency that was then being used worldwide. And then I got more into Bitcoin and everything else, and it kind of just blew up from there.
Right. And what about you, Steve? How did you get involved?
Well, I made the mistake of not doing it twice and then realized I better do it the third time or I'm really going to be pissed off with myself. So the first time that I heard about it was actually in 2010 when I had been doing like a marketing masterclass in the midst of launching a business in London, which I later sold. And our marketing guru, this guy was brilliant, but he had these moments of just crazed madness because he is a mad, crazy guy. And he came to us one time with his catalog and said, hey guys, I've got this amazing catalog. You can buy and sell anything, but you have to do it with this other kind of alternative currency thing. And we're like, what? He's like, well, it's called Bitcoin. And you can just get gardening services and you can get your shirts dry cleaned. And I was like, is he for real? Like, who does this stuff? Now it's funny because Yuri and I have tried to spend Bitcoin a number of times and we've never come across this catalog. So I'd love to know what that catalog was.
Exactly.
People
I've never heard of services.
That. Especially in 2010, yeah.
I don't know what it was, but it was Bitcoin. And it's hard to forget that, right? So then roll forward 3 years later and I went to a seminar in Silicon Valley, and it was all about finding the future. And one of the topics was about the whole crypto space and Bitcoin and creating your own coin. We didn't talk about ICOs. We just said you can create your own coin and then use it for something. And I was like, what? And it was all a bit weird, but I thought it's so cool and so interesting. I'd like to make my own money. That sounds kind of cool. But I was working full time in fintech. I didn't have time to really do it. I was working crazy hours, traveling around the world for work, and I just didn't get to it until I finally decided to get out of that and just go do something else. And it was at that time that I was leaving it, and I said, I had a list of things I wanted to go learn, and I was looking through my notebook. I said, oh yeah, this Bitcoin thing, I should go check that out. And this was like December 2016. And then by January 2016, I started buying Ether instead of Bitcoin, which was probably a bit of a mistake on my part because I think Bitcoin actually overperformed. But I started buying Ether early on, not a lot, just a tiny bit to play with it. My wife was like, no, don't spend your money on this crazy stuff. $9 for this Ether thing. What is this thing? When it got to $29, my wife was like, buy more, get the credit card out. And then by the middle of 2017, I had a mining rig, mining Ether. I was advising companies, not like ICO advisor, although that's what we called it, but I was literally out doing strategy work, which is what I do. Digital strategy, growth hacking, go-to-market strategy stuff, trying to help companies figure it out. Be paid in Bitcoin, be paid in crypto, be paid in shit coins, whatever, doesn't matter. You just do what you got to do. And then Yuri and I started doing this podcasting thing, and then we started writing a book. And so it's kind of just like once I jumped in, I just kept going. But it was kind of just a rediscovery of what I already knew.
Right.
Just didn't get around to it.
And you just mentioned that you are writing a book. The book is due to be out very soon, I believe. And
yeah, the book will be published in November 2019. We've spent the last, well, more than 12 months. I'd say we're closing in on 18 months, writing it, rewriting it, throwing a lot of stuff away, rewriting it again, because one, crypto changes a lot. And two,
tell me about it.
And two, we got picked up by a boutique publisher, so she decided to, do what any good editor would do, and edit the book and ripped us to shreds. Anyway. And the other thing is that when you start writing a book, one of the lessons you learn is you want the content to last. So what we realized was that if we tried to shift our focus away from short-term facts and figures and information in crypto and more around things that are fundamental anchors, then the book would have more value to our readers. So it took a lot of effort to really figure out how to do that and to make it so the book was so easy to read that it was for newbies. So I'll let Yuri talk about that more too, but that's kind of the very short version of the journey.
Okay, so the book is about it's kind of an introduction to cryptocurrencies, or it's for newbies, you mentioned, so it will be for people who are new to the crypto space, I assume.
Yes, completely people who are new to the space, and it's written in a language that they can understand. And so so like in your book, Jordan, you've written about a lot of the acronyms and the terminology in crypto. There's a lot. And so we were trying to do with this book, and hopefully succeeded with this, was to take a lot of the jargon, a lot of the technical terms, and break them down through analogies that the average non-technical person would understand and kind of liken it to a couple different things. So it's a nice, easier read for somebody new, and it won't overwhelm them, which is kind of the similar experience that I had, and I think Steve had as well. We both first started getting involved and trying to learn on our own in cryptocurrency, because a lot of the earlier documents and articles were written by people who were very close to the subject, who were highly technical, and they don't know that the average person maybe doesn't understand what they're actually saying. And so it's a heavier lift when you're first starting off, and it can be intimidating. We're trying to make it as least intimidating as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very much. How do you buy it? How do you send it? How do you spend it? How do you trade it? Where do you even go to find the stuff that you need to find to get started? And how do you keep yourself safe? OJ, you could give this to your friends who are like, what's this YouTube show you're doing? I don't really understand this whole crypto thing. And you, of course, like us, are deep in it. And many of our listeners are, probably watching this episode going, yeah, we know crypto already, but we've got friends who don't know anything.
Definitely. So, I'm meeting people all the time who don't really know much about crypto, because I'm traveling a lot. So I'm not necessarily networking with a lot of people who are outside of crypto, but I am meeting people every day. And of course, people ask you, what do you do and stuff like that. So every time I mention crypto, they're like, lately, actually, there's people who have heard of it, but they still don't really know much about it. A couple of years ago, they were like, what? And today they're like, oh, that Bitcoin thing. But it's kind of finished, isn't it? So yeah. So of course people follow mainstream media and what they see. Of course there is a lot of media manipulation as well, a lot of FUD, which is a term explained in my book, but pretty much everyone knows by now. But there's a lot of things that people need to learn when they're entering the crypto space, and that's why you mentioned all of this.
Exactly. I've heard about it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So read Be Left Behind, because we don't want you to be left behind, but it's a call to action so that people pick it up and can find out what they don't know and what they don't understand, so that they can talk intelligently about it and make their own informed decisions about what it all is and whether they should get involved or be left behind.
Yeah. And so the book is not yet published, so I'm not sure whether we're going to have a link below the video yet, but
our website is up.
Okay, we will have
beleftbehind.com, so people can check it out. They can sign up for some giveaways we're doing, and just by signing up, they'll be entered for pre-order information when it comes out, and being able to participate to either win a free book or a free hardware wallet. So we'll be doing those giveaways in December. after the book is published. But yeah, I mean, once you're on our mailing list, then we'll keep you informed as we go. But we're not about lots of email because we don't like email much ourselves. So
same with me. I'm for my book. I also started.
Keep it light.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I announced it before it was ready, and I people entered in my email list so that they can get informed when it's out. But I literally did not send them any emails before it was already ready and being listed on Amazon, because I didn't really want them to get spammed. And that's the one thing. I enter email lists a lot, and when I start receiving emails every day, that's the end of it. I'm like, okay, no, I don't have time for this. I don't have the nerves to even just read your subjects and delete these messages, because you can't have valuable information for me on a daily basis. It's not necessary.
Right. So that's not us. I mean, obviously we feel the same way. We hate spam mail. We would never spam our list. And so it just, right now we're collecting email addresses for people so that when the pre-orders come out, they can be involved in what we're working on.
Keep people informed. When we have new exclusive content, come and check it out on our website. But to be honest, it's more to be informed on an infrequent basis so that people can, keep up with what's happening. And as we build our ecosystem and start launching our webinars on how to get started, or want to get into trading, or want to do some online courses with us, then they'll be able to get involved with whatever it is they need help with, because that's what we're going to do, is build out an ecosystem off the back of the book to help people so that no one will have to be left behind.
Totally. That's a very good approach.
Once it's formatted, it'll be put up on Kindle and put up on pre-sale on Amazon. So 3 weeks, roughly 4 weeks max, and it'll be up on Amazon pre-sale in the US. And then it takes about 5 weeks to show up on Amazon everywhere else.
Steve and I will also be in Malta, and we're at the AI and blockchain conference. Yep. We've got a speaking slot there, and we'll be talking not about adoption and in general. But we'll also, hopefully, if everything works out well, have copies of the book for some of the attendees who are there. So definitely, if anyone watching this, or OJ, if you'll be there, please come.
I was last year. I'm not sure if I'm gonna. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna go this year, but there is a chance. I almost booked it and everything, but there's something that I might have to do instead. So that's why I'm not really sure. But there is a chance that I might come, and if I do come, we're gonna do another chat and we'll do another follow-up to this, which will be nice. It's a very nice place. I don't know if you've been to Malta before. It's the conference is also quite large with a lot of people, and you make a lot of contacts.
I really do hope you come, because we will have a blast out there.
No, definitely.
Lots of video recordings together, and
definitely, if I can, I will be there, because I did enjoy it a lot last year. All right. Well, and by the way, about having to change the book and add content and throw content away, I know exactly what you mean by that, because it took me. I mean, my book is a dictionary, so it's not like I'm actually writing it. It's more about compiling it, and the definitions. Of course, I had to make them sound better, because a lot of the times it's content that you gather from all kinds of places. Not all of them are professional. Some of those terms are literally terms that I had to explain myself, because they're terms that I've seen used online, but they don't really exist in another dictionary or anything like that. I'm actually proud to say that my selection is the most thorough one from all of the other glossaries and dictionaries that I've seen online.
Be on Amazon?
It's already on Amazon, actually. Hold on, let me show you how it looks. I don't know if you see it mirrored, or do you see it?
You could try. Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, good luck with the book. I'm sure it's going to be quite a good read, and I hope that the launch is going to go very well. And the thing is, you're going to be launching it at the blockchain conference, which is quite a good time to do that, because you will have all of these people that are in the space, that are involved in a lot of other content creators and everything. So this is a very good idea. That's definitely something that would make it more professional, and I'm sure that the readers and the audience will enjoy it. So guys, take a look at the link below the video in the description box.
you for
Right. Well, Yuri and Steve, yeah, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for that chat. Let's end it here. This was a great chat. We did touch on some really good topics here. We started with the market manipulation of Bitcoin and crypto in general, which is quite a big thing for people who are new to the crypto space. This is something that they're not very familiar with. So I hope that this managed to give them some more insight. And there's also a lot of more lessons to learn from the book. So, of course, guys, check it out. And Yuri and Steve, I'm going to follow up with you very soon, I hope. Thank you for coming.
Please do.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
All your listeners and subscribers for checking us out and giving us the time to talk about this. We appreciate it. And look, you know, guys, hodl, don't worry. Bitcoin's going back up. So
Definitely.
hang in there. Don't panic. Don't sell in a panic. That's what I want to leave us with.
Totally. That I agree with that. This is exactly what I'm also recommending. Do not sell at panic. This is the worst thing to do. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you.